Attention, formally call this meeting of the Mouse Animated Movie Society to order. I'm Joel Willick.
I'm President Browse.
Let's quickly get started. Starting off with corrections from last meeting. I want to note that in a previous meeting we were talking about how gold medals would probably be expensive to purchase on eBay. And
yes.
I was curious about this, so I went and looked. They're not thousands of dollars. They're like $50.
What?
It's because gold medals and all the medals are just plated.
Then what's the point of even being in the Olympics?
That's a very good point. Why would anyone do the Olympics?
Do they also give them like a barrel of olive oil like they did in Greek times?
Is that true?
Yeah, the reward for the Olympics in the past was like you get a bunch of olive oil, I think.
Was it more valuable back then?
Probably.
Other corrections. I think that Speedy Gonzalez would win the 100-meter dash.
Oh, for sure. Because he's the fastest animal in the whole world.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse doesn't stand a chance. He gets silver in the 100-meter dash, and yeah. Speedy Gonzalez
Wait,
gets
you think
first.
Mickey Mouse is the second fastest mouse?
Well, previously we had decided that he was the first fastest mouse.
Not fastest, but like
who gets silver medal?
Right?
Oh,
I don't know.
Mickey Mouse wins like soccer?
Probably, or some
football?
Kind of strength competition.
Hockey.
I don't remember what we said last time.
Okay.
But he's like the largest one, so he would win like strength. But I think a small mouse is faster than a person, maybe.
All right. And then last correction.
No, like if a mouse was running really fast and you were running by yourself and you were trying to catch that mouse by running faster than it, I don't think you would.
But for 100 meters?
Yeah. Especially.
Aren't humans like the most efficient mammal?
But that's about stamina. Like if you were chasing a mouse for days and days to tire it out, you'd be able to.
No, but like at
meters,
what length of race do you think it has to be before the human starts beating out the mouse?
Marathon.
Marathon?
Yeah.
I think I could beat a mouse on a mile run. I do not think a mouse could run a mile in its tiny mouse-sized body.
I think it could. It might just expend all of its resources and die at the end.
No, I think it would tire out before me.
I guess.
That's far.
Yeah.
Like, that's far for a human and really, really far for a mouse who is significantly smaller.
But a mile's not that far.
Can I addend my statement?
Okay.
Maybe I couldn't outrun a mouse in a mile because I'm not very fit.
Like a runner.
But someone could. The average man, Joe Schmo, who runs in a 7-minute, 30-second mile, he's like moderately fit.
That's a good number for a mile.
Yeah, he would beat a mouse.
Well, has anyone ever made a mouse run a mile? They've done so many experiments.
They've done a lot
of
things to mice.
They must have at one point tried and find out, like, can a mouse run a mile?
Like, you can get a mouse to like run through a little maze, but do you think a mouse is able to be motivated for that long of a distance to be able to run at his fullest ability for the full mile?
Well, if they were chasing it.
Oh, that's not moral.
That wouldn't be moral.
Everything's moral. Everyone does things morally to mice. No one ever does anything bad.
Yeah, no experiments on mice have ever caused any harm to them.
Yeah,
or
that's
distress.
What I'm saying. We wouldn't want to scare the mouse.
Yeah.
That would be mean.
True. So I'm sure no one has ever done something to a mouse that would scare it or upset it or bother it in any way.
All right, one more correction.
Yeah, what's your third thing?
On the first episode, we talked about Huey, Dewey, and Louie, their parents, don't show up at all in the original DuckTales. And that's true. But in the new DuckTales, Della Duck, their mom, does appear.
Oh, they have a mom.
So they definitely do have a mom.
Well, does she go to Donald Duck and say, hi, I'm your sister, or something like that? Or does she say, I'm married to your sibling?
What's the familial structure?
Yeah.
I just know that she exists and that she hates all of her children.
That's so evil.
And that's her whole deal.
No wonder she's not there most of the time.
I'm closing previous minutes. What is that called?
Formulations.
Yeah, I'm closing formulations, and now I'm opening up the floor to future topics. So
now it's time to talk about the future.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for the future, for this year?
I'm hoping that I live a happy and healthy life
Amen.
It says right here on this piece of paper that we should talk about rats versus mice.
Let
and
the
their
record show that Joel actually does have a piece of paper in front of him, and I have nothing in front of me.
No, but it says on this piece of paper that we should talk about mice versus rats and their context within the podcast, because sometimes we use that interchangeably, and I want to clear that up.
Yeah, I guess mice.
So this podcast is definitely about mice.
Yeah.
Are rats permitted topic of conversation?
I think they are, but it needs to be clear that they're not ever being judged on the same scale as mice. Because
they're worse?
No, they have a different life. Except maybe they could. I mean, they serve the same function in fiction. Like, a fictional rat isn't going to do something that a fictional mouse wouldn't do.
They're motivated by similar things. They usually occupy the same spot in the plot.
Yeah, the same niche of the plot.
That's true. So I do think... So this podcast can talk about both, but we have to clarify...
Yeah, we should...
If someone's a rat, unlike Rat Boy Genius, who's a mouse, then we need to specify that.
I believe that is true. Yeah, I think we should not totally conflate them, but for all extents and purposes, they're kind of similar. Like Ratatouille, he's obviously, he works the same as a mouse would, I think.
Yeah.
He does a lot of mouse.
That story could be the same story if he was a mouse.
Yeah.
No one would be like, wait, mice don't have, like, familial structures, and mice don't know how to cook. Only rats
But it's also true that a rat in the kitchen is, like, a worse concept than a mouse in the kitchen. Like, a rat has a kind of connotation that people don't like it as much as a mouse.
Yeah. I think it's, like, a rat has, like, a harder sound.
Yeah.
Like
it's
a rat.
So much easier to say rat angrily than it is to say
and
mouse
a mouse
angrily.
is like, oh, a mouse. A mouse.
You let a mouse cook in your kitchen?
You let a dirty, slimy rat into this kitchen?
Micky rat.
Micky rat. Other topics on my piece of paper, it says right here, fictional mice versus animated mice. So this podcast is supposed to be, this meeting is supposed to be about animated mice. And sometimes we talk about fictional mice that aren't of animated
I think that's fine.
Series. That's fine?
Yeah, because I've been talking about Ralph S. Mouse a lot, and he's never been animated to my knowledge. I think there was a movie about him, but he was a puppet.
I guess he could... The idea is a fictional mouse could be animated.
Yeah.
Anything that could be an animated mouse is fair game because it's a potential topic of the podcast.
Well, anything could be an animated mouse.
No.
I could be an animated mouse. You could be an animated mouse.
I'm very happy with the solution to this problem. Yes.
Okay, fine.
You're a fair topic for the podcast
so
because you could be made...
anything we talk about has to have the potential to be an animated mouse in some way.
Yes.
So when we went on that long tangent about the Pope last time...
The Pope is a mouse.
That's because the Pope can be an animated mouse.
Yeah. There's probably some obscure 1960s animated film where the Pope is represented by an animated mouse.
You think that probably exists?
Yes.
There's a good chance that someone has made that exact piece of media before.
There's a lot of animated
and that
mice.
exists in the world.
Yes. I would bet my bottom dollar. I've got a stack of dollars right here in front of me.
From the 1960s.
On the bottom of it, there's a $50 bill, and I'll bet that $50 bill that's on the bottom of the stack of dollars, the bottom dollar, I will bet.
But that's a $50. That's not a dollar.
Yeah, it's a type of dollar. A $50 bill.
Okay, I'll also bet you $50 that there is not a 1960s animated film starring the Pope as an animated mouse, anthropomorphized as a mouse in an animated form from the 1960s.
The anthropomorphized mouse is not only the Pope in universe, but is voiced by the Pope.
Okay, I'll gladly bet on that.
Okay,
for $50.
Let's shake on it. Let the record show we just shook hands.
The Pope who was even the Pope in the 1960s? Francis wasn't born then.
They usually have, like, cool names.
Pope?
Because the Pope changes their name when they become Pope, so it's probably
Pope Grievous.
Yeah. That was the Pope, specifically Pope Grievous IV.
That's what a lot of them were named.
Pope Idolatry. Pope Satan.
Pope Satan.
What if
that would be so fucked
That'd be really metal.
What if there was a pope and they wanted him to be the pope except his name was Satan, and everything else about him fully qualified him to be the pope except his name was Satan? What would they do?
No, what's like, there has to be a worse name than that. Like Pope Anal Sex.
Yeah, Pope Sodomy.
It's Pope Sodomy.
Or what if his name was just kind of like had to be censored, like his name was just Pope Fuck. Like he had some kind of a bad word in his name.
Maybe, yeah, that was probably why, so that's probably why popes change their name when they become pope, is because
they do?
that's like a thing. You choose your pope name. What was Pope
Francis's first name?
I don't know. But when you become pope, you choose a new name for yourself, and usually it's a name of a past pope.
What would your pope name be?
Oh, your pope name is the street you grew up on, followed by your porn star name.
So I would be Pope Francis.
Is that true?
Yeah, because the street I grew up on was Pope, and my porn star name is Francis.
That's amazing. You'd be Pope Francis.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have to say Pope twice. It would be
implied.
Yeah. Like if you say Francis now, everyone knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, my pope name would be Quailways Long Schlong.
Nice.
Pope Quailways.
Pope Quailways Long Schlong?
Yeah, Pope Quailways Long Schlong.
These are going to be the next
Wait,
two popes.
Are you implying that every pope's first name is Pope?
Yeah.
That's right? Not that title, that's their first name?
Well, Napoleon is called just Napoleon, but that's his first name. And we call the Pope just the Pope. So, that solves it.
That perfectly explains that situation.
Yep.
That is an interesting phenomena that, because almost all historical figures are referred to by their last name.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any others. Like, Napoleon definitely stands out in my mind as... Hannibal who?
I forget his last name, but he
was
had a
Rasputin's first name Rasputin?
His first name was Ra-Ra.
Ra-Ra Rasputin. Ra-Ra Rasputin.
Hannibal Barca.
What did he or she do?
He was the Carthaginian general and statesman.
Why did this person come to your mind?
Because he's famous. He brought the elephants over the Alps in the Punic Wars.
Oh, I remember when that happened.
Yeah, I remember that too.
That was in the newspaper.
Yeah, that was Hannibal Barca. You didn't learn that in, like, history class?
What history class did you learn that in?
Roman, it's like...
I didn't take a Roman history class, Kira.
I had so many Roman history class. We learned Romans and Greeks, like, every time. And Hannibal Barca was the one who brought the elephants over the mountains. Yeah. And famously, he did that.
Kira, I got a 3 on AP European history.
Oh, I never.
And that didn't even include that topic. Maybe it did, and I didn't know because I wasn't paying attention the whole class.
Maybe you weren't paying attention because that's the only thing I took away from my Roman history class. And his name rhymes with cannibal, which makes it funny that Hannibal Lecter cannibalism.
Yeah. Movie.
I don't know.
Show. Next thing in my notes, is Pikachu a mouse?
Yeah, he's an electric mouse.
So he's a mouse type Pokemon. But
Mouse isn't a type.
No, like all Pokemon are like there's
he's
like
electric type.
Like yes, he's also electric type. So in the Pokédex, all the Pokemon, the name of the Pokemon and then the blank Pokemon. And they always have a title. And so it'll be like, oh, the ice cream Pokemon.
Yeah, well, Pikachu's the electric mouse Pokemon. According
to the Pokemon universe, he is a mouse. But genetically, if I brought Pikachu back to Earth and then
to Earth from where?
He was on Earth. Pikachu he went to Pokemon, and now he's back on Earth.
Are you saying he's not here anymore? Because all of the Pikachus were sent into space.
They were all sent to Pokemon.
And you were genetically
Okay, if I brought him back to Earth, and I bred a Pikachu with a normal mouse, they would not produce a fertile offspring. Therefore, Pikachu is not a mouse. He's something else. He's a Pikachu.
No, but there's different species of mice anyway that can't produce fertile offspring together.
But Pikachu can't breed with any of them.
Because he's his own species of mouse. But he's still a mouse.
No, but he's... You think that Pikachu shares a common ancestor with all the other mice on Earth.
You've created an interesting situation where Pokemon is a different planet where there are humans that are completely human as far as we know.
Yes,
but different
definitely
versions,
very human.
But there's different versions of every animal.
You know
so
what?
do you think they started out with the normal set of animals and over time, like, artificially selected them to fight better and have electricity? Because in that case, Pikachu would be descended from the original mice.
You know what's really tricky about this question is evolution in the Pokemon world is so different from evolution in our world.
I guess it's like
Because
different radiation of the planet.
We know what animal Pikachu evolved from. He evolved from a Pichu.
Yeah.
Right? And did Pichu, like, that's the base model of all of that evolution line.
Yeah, but you know what else?
Wait, some of the Pokemon can breed with each other. Like a Pikachu can breed with the Ditto.
They have different egg groups. But I think another thing about their evolution is that sometimes their evolution is caterpillar to butterfly.
Yeah.
Caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. So I think that the evolution, quote unquote, of the Pokemon world is maybe better interpreted as metamorphosis, like a caterpillar to a butterfly kind of deal. So Pichu is the caterpillar and Raichu is the butterfly, and Pikachu is like the chrysalis stage. But all animals do that, or most of them do. Some of them don't.
So when that guy went to those islands and wrote that book on theory of evolution or whatever the fuck, he was like...
Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, when Ash Ketchum went to...
He wrote his famous book about evolution in the Galapagos.
Yeah, the Galapagos, that's not in Pokemon. The Pokemon Island.
The region.
The Alola region.
The Alola region.
He was like...
That's where he discovered evolution of Pokemon.
Yes.
Before that, he didn't know they could do that.
Yeah. And he was like, evolution is when a Pokemon changes within one lifetime. And he was like off the mark.
And then
like
everyone hated him and was mad at him in the scientific community because he used the word evolution, which already means something else. And they were like, you idiot kid.
you
stupid 11-year-old. There's already something called evolution. But I'm thinking that the Pokemon, their evolution of metamorphosis that they do is like secondary to actual evolution. Like over time, probably if you looked at Pichu's way in the past, they look different.
Okay.
But actually, now that I just said that, I thought of the idea that, you know how Pikachu used to be like kind of round and circular?
Yeah, he used to be fat.
Legs? Yeah, that was his previous evolution. That was like his actual
he evolved the fat away. Pikachu and Snorlax share a common ancestor.
No.
And one of them gained more weight and lost the electricity, and one of them lost the weight and gained the electricity.
I mean, I guess.
What's the common ancestor called?
Between Snorlax and Pikachu specifically?
Yes.
Sneakachu.
Sneakachu.
Porlax or
Porlax. Picorlax. Picorlax.
Pikachuidae.
Pikachu Snorlax. Snorlax Pikachu.
This Pikachu family is called the Peachidae because peach is like the root word of all of them. And
no, it's
Snorlax.
Chew, isn't it? It's not Peach. Because it's Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu. It's definitely the Chew. C-H-U.
But Pichu and Pikachu kind of...
It's the
but
Chew.
The Chew is the ending also.
Well, they have a whole other language in Pokemon World.
No, they just say
with
whatever
different
they're
roots.
called.
They have different roots.
They just say whatever
the roots in Pokemon World. Wait.
No, Pikachu just says Pika Pika.
But the words... Wait, I'm just realizing. All Pokemon are named after the word that they say.
Yeah.
So,
or they just say it because that's what they're called.
No. It's definitely...
Maybe they know. Maybe they found out.
So the common ancestor between Pikachu and Snorlax isn't some combination of Pikachu and Snorlax that has like the common Latin roots or whatever the equivalent of Pokemon World is, because its name is whatever word it said.
So there's no way we can know what it was called because we don't know what it said.
It's a shame.
That's so sad.
This is a scientific disappointment.
Wait, but there's fossil Pokemon.
Oh, yeah!
But they bring them back to life. So the only way you can know a Pokemon's name is literally if it's alive and you hear it say something.
Yes.
Because you don't know what Pokemon your fossil is until you bring it back to life.
It just gets categorized. It's funny. The scientific community in the Pokemon games is kind of shit. Right? It's like, hi, I'm a scientist.
I need you, 11-year-old, to go and collect data for me.
It's like, I only know about, like, 5 different Pokemon. Could you go learn about the rest of them? Like, we have the internet, and there's scientists all over the place, but we can't catalog them. There's 150,
Yeah, but
you gotta go do it.
We also have this little device that if you just kind of, like, scan the Pokemon, it collects all of the information about it just by sort of pointing your little phone at it.
Yeah.
But we need you to use it.
And currently we know about these 5 Pokemon that are very local.
We know about these 3. We've got these 3.
These are the 3
have
we
one
have.
if you really want, but just whichever one you want, you can have.
It's funny that
3.
all Pokemon in the Pokemon games are classified scientifically as Pokemon within the world. So a Pidgey, which is like a normal ass bird that you just see around, is the same qualification scientifically as God, right? As Arceus, who's the god of the Pokemon universe.
Well, that's like the religion.
Who's a Pokemon.
That's like, religiously
fine.
we hold significance of birds.
It's the same scientific classification as every single legendary Pokemon, right? As Kyogre, who's like the ocean super
like
Pokemon.
Kind of fish.
But it's like the scale that all animals exist on Earth is like, it's big, like there's a spectrum, but it's not as big as all Pokemon.
Yeah, because they have plants and fungi.
Yeah.
Also as Pokemon.
Wait, but they also have plants and fungi that aren't Pokemon. They just have normal trees.
Wait a minute. That's true. They do have normal trees in Pokemon. But
Do you think there's anyone that ever captured a normal tree in a Pokeball and then threw it in like a gym? And it's like, haha, defeat my tree.
This is a problem because they have normal trees, but they don't have like a normal cat or a dog in the Pokemon world.
It's only a Pokemon if it says its name. So a tree isn't a Pokemon because it can't speak.
So then the Pokemon... Well, some of the Pokemon must not speak. Some of them just like growl or something.
Doesn't the one cat that's with Team Rocket?
Oh, he can talk.
He can just talk English.
Well,
I'm ashamed I don't know his name. Wait, why isn't that like a big deal?
He counts as a human. He's technically a human.
He's genetically a human. Canonically a human.
He was given birth to by a human. We haven't even talked about
Stuart
Little yet. We can't get into Stuart Little.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else we want to talk about in the Pokemon universe?
There's so much. There's so much going on.
Wait, so fundamentally, is Pikachu a mouse?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I still don't think he is.
Is Meowth a cat?
Meowth. No.
Well, then what the fuck is
We just said he's a human.
Do you think they don't have the existence... Okay, yeah, Meowth is a human. There's so many Pokemon that are dogs.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
They're indistinguishable from dogs, and those are considered dogs in those worlds. Pikachu, they say he's a mouse, so he's a mouse. Like,
yeah.
We can't be arguing with someone else's definition of mouse when it's, like, agreed upon.
I guess if you brought, like, a Pidgey back to Earth, and a Pidgey bred with, like, a pigeon, I think that would produce a fertile offspring.
But it might produce it might produce anything. Like, when you get a Pokemon egg, you have no idea what's in it. Even if it came from something, you know what it is.
Aren't the rules of Pokemon eggs that it has to be one of the 2 parents? Or no, in the Pokemon universe, you can breed 2 Pokemon that share an egg type and get a 3rd different Pokemon.
Maybe it is one of the 2. I don't really know. I've never successfully done that in Pokemon because it's so hard.
I think it's just one of the 2.
Maybe.
I think them's the rules.
That would make sense. But also sometimes they just give you an egg and you just have it and they don't tell you where it came from.
That sounds about right.
And then it's
you know how eggs are.
Yeah, eggs these days. It could hatch into anything.
Wait, are all eggs fertilized in the Pokemon universe? Do animals ever lay eggs that aren't fertilized?
Well, do they ever eat eggs? Because that would tell us something.
This is like a whole thing. Is everyone vegetarian in the Pokemon universe?
No, they eat slowpoke tails, but they grow back, so it's okay.
So they're ethically vegetarian. Or they're like ethically not vegetarian.
Well, if they ate Pikachu, that would be kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But if they
they'll
eat
the byproduct. They'll eat the byproducts of a Pokemon, but they're not gonna hurt it.
They eat moo milk. But if they they must have dairy products because they have milk.
Don't moo also drink moo milk? Probably. I guess that's how actual
cows
work.
Also drink milk too.
that's why cows make milk.
Yeah.
It's to feed to their calves.
So all of them make milk. But do they have eggs? They must have eggs, because if they would think of having milk, and that's in the real world, they would also have eggs.
Yeah, they probably have, like, omelets.
But also, they can eat Pokemon that people don't care about very much. For example, Slowpoke. At first, the implication was literally just they eat Slowpoke. They had, like, Slowpoke farms, and it wasn't clear that the tail falls off. They added that later
and then
to make it
retconned
less scary for kids that this Pokemon we eat.
Yes.
The rest of them are our friends, but this one is food to us.
It's like BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
This is a domestic chicken, and this is a food chicken.
Yeah.
that you eat.
Yeah.
It's very different, legally.
But Slowking is the king of them.
Aren't there multiple Slowkings? Do they all hold royalty?
Do they go to war?
Do Slowpokes have society? Then it's really unethical to eat them.
Maybe they're just like...
If they show societal structure.
Maybe they're like enemies of the humans. Like Slowking maybe declared war on humans.
Are there wars in the Pokemon universe? There aren't swords or guns or weapons of any kind.
Slowking with his little crown and scepter and whatever he has. That cute little animal, he's sitting on a chair, like a lifted up chair, carried by 4 other Slowpokes.
Yeah.
And then he marches forwards, and then there's an army of Slowpokes scuttling around behind him.
Yeah.
Cutely. And they're going to war.
Yeah, and the Flight of the Valkyries is playing.
Yeah.
The last thing I have on the agenda for today's meeting is individual segments, and I brought this up to you. That's okay. I was thinking my individual segment could be gaming as a general thing, but we could totally change this. You were saying you maybe wanted to do Arctic exploration?
Yeah, dying in the Arctic, that's my kind of thing.
Do you have a short Arctic story that could be discussed?
I can always talk about my favorite Arctic explorer, Fridtjof Nansen, who in 1897, he was cool because there was this previous expedition called the Jeannette Expedition that was launched by the Americans, and it was a very bad failure, and they crashed their ship and it was crushed up and ruined. But the pieces of it started floating in a weird way where they were like, they know the ship broke up at one place, and then the logs from it were floated over to some other weird place that was like, how could they have gotten there?
Did they discover like a cool new ocean current?
Yeah, well, Fridtjof Nansen thought maybe because of this there is a cool new ocean current, so let's go check it out. But let's also not die horribly. So he like took most of the time when they did these polar explorations, there was like some reason that it wasn't going well because they did some kind of bad planning or like it was short-sighted how they decided they were going to bring things along, and their ship wasn't really made for it, and they made a lot of bad decisions along the way. But Fridtjof Nansen, this guy, he gets this like really good ship right, and he's like, okay, I'm going to help me design this boat that's going to be capable of going in ice and getting the ice frozen around it without it getting totally crushed.
Yeah.
Like,
it was unsinkable.
Yeah. Well, it was like
unstoppable. It was giant, enormous boat.
It was like instead of just using some boat that was sitting around, instead of just using whatever boat...
It had a lot of people that paid a lot of money to be on it.
No, there was like 12 people on it. But instead of just using whatever...
They made a movie about it.
No, they didn't. I wish they did.
And then there was this made-up love story and...
No, what happened was instead of just taking whatever boat was lying around, they designed...
Gigantic?
It was called the
enormous?
The Fram.
The Titan...
No, that was actually like 20 years later.
The Biganic... I can't remember what they called it.
That was 20 years later, and that has nothing to do with polar exploration.
What are you talking about?
Something different.
The Titanic!
You would hear
the movie
about
by
it.
Robert De Niro with the Leonardo da Vinci and the woman.
But anyway, the Fram was this big, strong ship that had like 3 different hulls on it, 3 layers of hulls so that it wouldn't get crushed by the ice. Like they actually thought about how to make this not get crushed by the ice. And they got some people who were like well chosen, and they went on their expedition. And it went really well, and nothing went wrong. They discovered a new ocean current. They discovered, like, new cool physical properties. Like, they discovered Ekman transport, and they had a great time, and they got farther towards the North Pole than anyone did before, ever. And it was wonderful because they, like, actually did a good job with it.
Is this, like, a happily ever after story?
Yeah, it
It's
ends
horrible.
happily.
Wait, so then... What did they do to, like, prove that there was a cool new ocean current, and how did they measure it? Did they have, like, a stick
Well, they had...
that they put in the water, and they're like, oh...
Well, what they had was their boat was traveling with... So what they did in the end is they sailed their boat into the ice so that it would get frozen in with the ice. And it was able to withstand that, but it also couldn't move at the time. So then they just recorded their position every day, like with taking measurements of the sun and stars and stuff.
Oh, wow. Wait, how long ago was this?
1897. They froze in with the ice, and then the ice just carried them, so then they could basically record like how the ice moves, and they recorded that it moves in kind of a curve from the north of Siberia to the west side of Greenland, and they discovered a new current. And they also discovered that the polar ocean is just a big ocean basin, and there's not like a little island up at the North Pole. It's just ocean.
Isn't it an archipelago technically?
No.
Or I'm wrong. I'm wrong about that.
There's not islands like right up there. It's just a big deep basin. How they figured that out, but without actually getting there, was that they did lead soundings where they like have a metal thing on a string and they throw it down and then see how far the rope goes down. And they did that along the way as they were going through the ice, and they saw that the slope was going down and getting steeper. So they knew that it wasn't going to like slope back up and become land anytime soon. It was just like the ocean deep.
Yeah. I love when science comes out with like really cool extrapolations like that. Like in third grade, you learn what the earth is made out of. It's like, oh, there's a giant metal sphere in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I was in the third grade, I was like, all right, that sounds good. And not once did I think about, how do they know that? Because there's no way we drilled all the way down.
How did they know that?
They have seismographs, which are like...
Oh, yeah, and that's how they measure an earthquake.
And and that's how they measure an earthquake. And it shakes in a line as it moves, and you can see like the shaky line that represents the strength of the earthquake.
Yeah.
And they would measure seismograph data from around the world and see how like an earthquake in California would have a weird effect on the seismographs in China. Seismographs. And so they looked at that data and they were like, all right, we can try and figure out the composition of the inside of the earth because we can look at the waves as they go through the center.
Oh, that's
And they found out that the earth has to have a metal center.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool how people can figure stuff out without really like knowing it, just based on like, if something happens this way, it's got to be that way.
Like, that's how a lot of science... It's like, in chemistry, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where it's like... Like,
no one knows what an electron does or looks like. It's just like...
They don't know that there's electrons by observing them because you can't.
Yeah.
Right? It's been proven that you can't.
Yeah.
And so, the way that we found out was, like, the weird, like, gold foil or whatever. So, one of those experiments. Where they,
that one was radiation. That one was how they figured out... no, wait, that one was...
Wasn't that the nucleus or something?
That was the nucleus, yeah, but that was about... They did radiation onto it.
But there's a lot of, like, really cool experiments like that, where it's like...
Yeah.
We know that this thing occurred because of this weird, specific data that we collected.
Yeah. It was so cool. Well, the Ekman transport thing, the reason it's named after someone different than him is because someone else went and, like, studied it in more detail.
What is Ekman transport?
It's something to do with the Coriolis effect, about, like, the oceans moving with the rotation of Earth and, like, different currents. Like, you know about how one way, if you're flying around the Earth on a plane one way, it's slower than if you're flying the other way because of the rotation of the Earth?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's like... Which way does something drift if it's drifting with wind and also with the ocean turning? Because it ends up being like on an angle between the direction of wind and the direction of Earth turning or something like that.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly.
That's cool. I feel like this podcast may have lost a lot of our viewership recently. Over the last 5 minutes.
And Fridtjof Nansen was an animated mouse.
Yeah, these characters all could have been or could become animated mice.
Do you think there was ever an animated movie starring Fridtjof Nansen as a mouse?
Yeah.
Because that would
he
be the
played
best
himself.
Thing. Yeah.
There's probably an Arctic exploration movie starring mice.
In the 19...
It was made in the 1830s.
1910s. Yeah.
60 years before the expedition.
Yeah.
And animation.
As soon as he was born, he was.
It was documented.
Brought over to star in this movie.
He played himself.
Yeah, we need this baby. to be in the first animated movie ever. What's an animated movie? Oh, you're about to find out.
It's like a lot of drawings played quickly to trick your eye.
And
It's like a moving picture.
I think maybe Fridtjof Nansen could have thought of that as soon as he was born.
He was that scientifically impressive.
Yeah. You know, after he did this whole polar expedition thing, he became a diplomat in World War I. Like, that was what he just went on to next.
Do we want to swap over to my segment?
Yeah. Does any of us know how to play chess? Probably Micky does. This is like really long.
I bet if you looked up Mickey Mouse playing chess, you could find a picture of Mickey Mouse playing chess.
Probably. Let's see. I have my phone.
Oh, you're gonna cheat? We're not allowed to access the internet in this podcast.
I already did to look up Hannibal Barca.
Oh.
I'm googling Mickey Mouse chess. I spelled it M-I space key mouse chessa.
Do you have autocorrect on your phone?
No.
Do you want it on?
There is a Mickey Mouse version.
Oh, there's Mickey Mouse chess. That's like Mickey Mouse playing chess.
I found a picture of him playing chess with Donald Duck.
Oh, is that canon? That's DeviantArt.
That's DeviantArt. So I guess it's a fan theory.
That's probably a common fan theory, that Mickey Mouse knows how to play chess.
That's my theory. That's my headcanon.
Alright. I'm gonna close the floor.
Oh, I found
Any closing
a canon
remarks?
version. I think this one's canon. This is Katowiki? Is that a website?
That looks fake. It says original drawing.
From Mickey Mouse, from the real people.
From Walt Disney.
This looks real.
Alright. I'm closing the floor. Any closing remarks?
How do you
All those in favor? Wait, Kira, I can't show
thumbnail of the video.
Yeah, send that picture to me. Kira,
Okay.
I can't show all these pictures to the viewers. I'm going to have to edit this all out.
No, you can show them this one because it'll be the thumbnail of the video.
What did you just do, Kira?
It's still recording, right? I airdropped it to you.
Oh, okay.
It's still recording. Okay.
Okay. Are you ready to close the floor, Kira?
Yes. This has been
No,
our TV show.
I want to say to close the floor one more time. All right. I'm closing the floor. Any closing remarks?
Objection. No.
All right. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Abstain.
Goodbye.